link for that. It's going to be right here. So anybody who wants to go over to the YouTube live stream and go over and watch that, you can do so at the link that I'm going to put in the chat for everybody. Here you are. Okay, so before we get started, let's do a little warm up, and we're going to do our warm up with our JS Linux machine, which is over at this link right here. I'm going to put the link in the chat for everybody. And if you could navigate over to the JS Linux machine over here, and when it is up, please type JS Linux up in the chat. Okay, some people have their JS Linux up. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be running a little program that that was included in the last session. So let's do that. I just need to get the last session's notes over here. Hold on. So the last section was on the 12th. Okay. So what I want everybody to do is I want everybody to go over to this link right here. And on this link, I want you to go over to this link, and this is all the notes for the last session. And what I want everybody to do is scroll down to the very bottom of the page, and you should see this section labeled End of Session Exercise Code. All right. So what we're going to do here is we're going to copy all of this code. So you can just use your mouse and then highlight all the code here, and then right-click on it and select Copy. And then over in your JS Linux, so we're going to go over to our JS Linux, and we're going to create a file using nano, and that's going to be, so the command is going to be nano pizza.py. All right, so it's going to be nano space pizza.py, and then hit enter, and that's going to put us in our nano text editor. So after we've entered our nano text editor, it's going to say pizza.py at the top here. What I want you to do is right click and then select paste. So we previously copied all that code. We're going to select paste to paste in the code. Okay, and then this should appear in the text editor here. All right, so then what we're going to do is we're going to save the file. So to save the file, we need to use the Control-X keyboard shortcut. So it says here something X, and that's exit. That's going to be Control-X. So hit Control-X, and it's going to ask you if you want to save the modified buffer. Type Y for yes, and then press Enter to save as the same file name. All right. So after that, when you do the ls command, you should see a pizza.py file in there. Okay. So everybody, if you manage to create your pizza.py file, please type I have pizza. Okay, so I'm going to explain it one more time. So over on the GitHub page over here, you scroll down to the very end of the page, and then there's going to be this code here. What I want you to do, highlight all the code, and then right-click, select Copy, and then go over to JS Linux. I want you to use nano on pizza.py to create a file. Somebody's asking if I can resend the link. Okay, so I'm going to resend the link so the link to the notes is over here, and I will resend the link to the person asking for it. Okay, so what you need to do is you need to go down to the end of the page over here, and it's going to have this code. So just highlight all the code, and then select copy. And then over at JS Linux, you're going to give the command nano space pizza.py, and then press enter. That's going to put you in the nano text editor. And then from there, you can right click inside the text box and then select paste. And that's going to paste in all the code that we copied. Send the link. Okay, so first of all, the link for the JS Linux is right here. So JS Linux link is right there. The link to the notes where the code is this one right here. And that's on GitHub. Okay. So after you copy the code and then you go to JS Linux and then you do nano space pizza.py, you paste in all the code over here and then you want to save it. In order to save it, you're going to use the Control-X keyboard shortcut. So it's Control-X. It's going to ask you if you want to save the modified buffer. Press Y for yes, and then press Enter to save the file. And then afterwards, you're going to see that there's a pizza.py file in your directory, okay? So one user says, paste isn't working on Mac. Paste isn't working on Mac. So to paste, you can right-click inside of the JS Linux. So just right-click, and it should have an option over here to paste. You're not going to be able to use the keyboard shortcut. So if you're using the Command V keyboard shortcut, that's not going to work. So you just need to use your left mouse click and then paste, and that's going to paste in whatever you have. Okay, so paste isn't working. Okay, so to the user that's having a problem pasting in Mac, what I want you to do is I want you to try doing this exercise inside of the picoctf web shell. So to anybody else, you can do all the stuff that you're doing on JS Linux inside the picoctf web shell as well. Okay, so you just need to log into your picoctf web shell first. Okay, so over on JS Linux, we have our pizza.py file, and we're going to run the pizza.py file. So it's Python space pizza.py, and then press enter, and then we're going to run the program. So the program, syntax error, invalid syntax. Oh, there's something wrong. Okay, let me go back into the pizza.py file. So everybody else who has who's doing this is line 1. Print, what are some... Okay, so the problem here is that these two things are on the same line. So topping list over here should be on its own line, and print should be on its own line. So this is the problem. So everybody, if you could go back into your nano, so do nano space pizza.py one more time, and make sure that the topping list is on its own line right here. So print is on its own line here, and the topping list has to be on its own line. So after that, everything else is the same. Oh, and okay. You know what? We also need to adjust the script a little bit like this. Okay, so everybody, this is what is supposed to be here. Apparently, when we copy pasted, we got some extra white space. So make sure that your code looks just like this. So print topping list append 3 times, and then print, print, print. Okay. So everybody, if you're getting errors, I want you to go into your, I want you to go into the script by using nano, and then I want you to format the script, the code, so that it looks like this. Okay. And we're going to save one more time. It's going to be Control X, save modified buffer Y for yes, and then hit enter. All right, so we're going to run the file now. It's going to be python pizza.py. And then it's going to ask a question. What are some good toppings for pizza? Input your first topping. So I'm going to put pepperoni. Insert your second topping. I'm going to say green peppers. And your third topping, I'm going to say mushrooms. Okay. And then it says, these are pizza toppings. These are the pizza toppings, pepperoni, green peppers, mushrooms, bon appetit. Okay. So everybody, if you managed to get the program to run successfully, please type in the chat, I made a pizza. So if anybody's getting some errors, what I want you to do is I want you to go back into Nano, and I want you to, oh, this looks weird now. Okay, I'm going to exit out of here. Okay, and then I'm going to nano pizza.py. Okay, and we've got this right here. So it's going to be print. So the list of commands should look like this: print, and then topping list, and then topping list.append 3 times. And then there's going to be a print. These are the pizza toppings. There's going to be a print topping list, and there's going to be print bon appetit. Okay? All right, so some users are saying they just joined. Okay, so we just wrote a little program from the last session that was about pizza toppings. So if you missed that, that's fine. You can go back and watch the video at the beginning where I talk about how to do this. But that's fine. We're going to move on with the rest of the lesson now. So today we're talking about an important topic. This is the third intro class to Python programming. During our last workshop, we learned about a few programming concepts through Python, including the following. So we learned about lists, which are variables with one or more items associated with them. Items in the list can be referenced by a process called list indexing. So basically, what a list is a variable that can have a lot of different objects in it. And we can refer to the objects by using these square brackets, and we start counting the items starting from the number 0. So this is number 0 here, this is number 1, and this is number 2. The other thing we learned about is basic operators, which are basically math symbols that we use inside of Python. So today we're going to be talking about 2 things. We're going to be talking about string formatting, which is basically putting the names of variables inside of strings. And then we're going to talk about basic string operations, which is some different functions we can run with strings. Okay, so if you remember, strings are basically anything between some single quotes or double quotes. And basically, when we're talking about strings, we're usually talking about little bits of text, so sentences or paragraphs or words. Okay, string formatting is what we're talking about, and what string formatting lets us do is use variables in strings, allowing for dynamic print output. Okay, so here, the first thing we do is we create a name variable, and it's my name right here, the Shy Hat. And then we're going to do daily coffee, and it's going to equal 3. So for us, maybe it's not daily coffee, maybe it's daily water, how many cups of water we drink. And then we're going to create a print statement, which includes the names of variables inside the print statement. So we've got variable name, So in this case, the shy hat drinks daily coffee, cups of coffee a day. And when we run this, it says the shy hat drinks 3 cups of coffee a day. So when formatting in this way, we use F strings. So you can see that we've got our quotes over here in the print statement, but before the quotes, we put the letter F, and this creates what is called an F string. So we include the letter F in front of the string when we use the print function, and if we use the F string, we're able to use variables inside of our print statement. So everybody, let's try this out. So over at JS Linux, I'm going to quit out of here. And what we're going to do is we're going to work inside the Python console. This looks weird. I'm going to clear this. So anytime you see something weird inside of your JS Linux, you can always use the clear command. So it's just going to be clear, and that's going to clear the screen. Okay, so everybody, let's go inside the Python interactive console. So it's just the word Python by itself at JS Linux, and press enter. And then we enter the Python interactive console. So somebody's asking for the JS Linux, and I'm going to send the JS Linux to that person. Okay, there you go. And to anybody else who does not have the link to the JS Linux, there you go. Okay, so first of all, we're going to create a name variable. So it's going to be name equals. So name equals in this case, and then you put some double quotes. And inside the double quotes, you can put somebody's name. It doesn't have to be your name. I'm going to say, oh, who's really famous right now? Superman. All right, so we've got Superman, and we have a name variable. It's equal to Superman, and then we have Okay, I'm going to do a variable called daily water, and that's going to be how many cups of water this person drinks a day. So let's say Superman is very responsible and he drinks 8 cups of water a day. So this variable daily water is equal to 8. So what we're going to do is we're going to print, and we're going to print, and inside of the parentheses here, and before the double quotes, we're going to use an F to indicate that this is an F string. So we're going to say, and we have to put the name of the variable inside of these wavy brackets, these squiggly brackets. And these are the shifted version of the square brackets. So you put the name of the variable you want printed in there. And then after that, drinks. And then daily underscore water, cups of water a day. So it's just like this. We just need to, so F and then the double quote, and then the name of the variable, name, and we put these squiggly brackets over here, wrapping the name of the variable, and then drinks, and then daily water. This is another variable we want in here. So we also put it inside of these curly brackets, and then cups of water a day. So when we know that this is what we want, we can just hit enter, and then it says, in this case, Superman drinks 8 cups of water a day. All right, so I want everybody to try this out. If you're having problems, take a close look at the so I think I can copy this. So I'm going to provide this particular line of code in the chat for everybody to take a look at. If you're having problems, just make sure that all of the symbols, all the syntax is correct, okay? User AD says, does it have to be a double quote? No, it doesn't need to be a double quote. It could be a single quote, but you just need to make sure that double quotes are in pairs, and single quotes are also in pairs. All right, so we've got a user from YouTube, Mahmoud Faith. No, I can't pronounce that, but somebody just subscribed. But thank you very much for subscribing on YouTube. Okay. All right, so everybody, what I want you to do is try this out. If you're able to get Superman to drink 8 cups of water a day, or somebody to drink some cups of water a day, please type in the chat. We're drinking something. And if anybody's having problems writing this code, let me know what you're having problems with, and I'll try to help you out. Okay, so we're going to move on to this next part. So we're talking about string formatting. Inside the string, we can insert variables into the string with the names of the variables wrapped in curly brackets. So we can insert name in here, and we can insert daily coffee or daily water, whatever we want. So we can also use list objects as part of f strings. So we've got our list about frogs, we've got green, and we've got jumping. And then we're going to print this animal is, and then list about frogs index 0, which is green, and then and moves around by list about frogs index 1, which is jumping. So this prints out this animal is green and moves around by jumping. So let's try this out. So inside of our JS Linux, we're going to create a list, and this is going to be, so it doesn't necessarily need to be about frogs, but I'm just going to create a list that is about frogs. So the first item here is going to be a string, and the string is going to be green. And the second one is going to be by jumping. Okay, so we've got 2 items in our list. Frog list is, first item is green, and second item is by jumping. Okay, and then we're going to do a print statement, a print function with an f string. So we just need to format it like this first. It's going to be double quotes or single quotes, and then there's going to be the f in front, and it's going to be, whoops, what was this? So this animal is, and then inside the squiggly brackets, we're going to do frog underscore list, and then square brackets 0, which refers to this item right here, green. This animal is green. And then the second thing is going to be after this, and moves around. And then in here, it's going to be frog underscore list. And then in the square brackets, we're going to add the number 1. Okay, so this looks a little bit complicated. I'm going to copy this and provide it in the chat. Can I not copy this? Hold on. So sometimes this can be a little bit difficult, but right click, copy, and then I'm going to paste this in the chat for everybody to see. Okay, so after we make sure that the formatting is correct, we can print this out, and then this should print out this animal is green and moves around by jumping. Okay, so we managed to include the list objects inside of our f string. And if you're having trouble with this, please let us know. Otherwise, in chat, if you're able to do this, please type my frog facts. So the first thing we do is we create the list. And the second thing we do is we create our F string, F format string. That includes the list items like this. Okay. All right. So let's move on. So we're going to be practicing with this a little bit more later. But for now, just keep in mind that we can insert the names of variables inside of our print statements by doing this kind of method here. All right. So next. So we're going to do a little quiz on string formatting here. So which of the following Python code is the valid method of printing variables and strings? So name equals HackerFrog, and then which one of these is going to print, which one of these options over here are potential ways we could print out something, including strings and the names of variables. So is A correct? Is B correct? Is C correct for printing out hello HackerFrog? Or is D all the above correct? So user AD said, mine said error. Okay. So user AD, if you could give me what the error message says, that would help me out a lot. Thank you. So which one of these is going to print out hello HackerFrog? Is it A? Is it B? Is it C? Or is it D? Okay, we've got a couple of answers coming in. Okay, all right. So user AD says a syntax error. So the answer for this question right here, which of the following code is going to print out name equals HackerFrog? It's going to print out hello HackerFrog. It's actually all the above over here. So we could do any of these methods to print out hello HackerFrog, but what we should remember is that this is probably the easiest way to do it because it doesn't look super complicated is what I'm trying to say. But these other methods are also going to achieve the same thing. All right, so user AD, maybe we'll talk after the session is over, and maybe we can sort out that syntax error. Okay. All right. So the second part is we're going to talk about basic string operations. So you can do a lot of different methods, including that involve strings. Strings in Python are considered an object class, and classes in Python have special operations called methods that can be applied to these class objects. So any variable that has some single quotes or double quotes, they're going to be considered a string object. And there's a bunch of different methods, a bunch of different operations we can do with these. So in this case, we have the string Seattle. This is the name of a city, obviously. But we can also run this function on it, this method called count, and it's going to count the number of E's inside of Seattle. And in this case, it returns 2, which means that there are 2 letter E's inside of Seattle. So let's try this out. Over in JS Linux, we're going to create, it doesn't need to be a city. This could be oh, you know what? Maybe we will make this a city. So we're going to call this city, and the city is going to be Mississippi. Does anybody remember how to spell Mississippi? Mississippi. Is it like this? Did I spell this correctly? Let me check my spelling over on the internet. Mississippi. Okay, 2 S's and then 2 S's and then 2 P's. Okay, so we need 2 P's in Mississippi. Okay, so we've got Mississippi. This is in Missouri, right? Anyway, my geography is not that great. Okay, so we've got Mississippi. So we're going to create this variable inside of JS Linux, and then we're going to do city.count. So this is a function with the city object over here, and we're going to count the number of user H says, can we do other states? You can do whatever state you want, whatever city you want. It's perfectly fine as long as you use the count method over here. So count, we're going to count the number of S's. We're going to count the number of S's in Mississippi with this function right here called count. And it says there's 4 S's in Mississippi. Okay, that looks right. Or maybe we could count the number of I's in Mississippi. And it's also, oh, that's 4? Okay, yeah, it is 4. Okay, great, great. User AMO says Mississippi is a state next to Alabama. Mississippi is a state? I thought Mississippi was a city. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry if you live in Mississippi. And I'm so sorry that I called Mississippi a city. My geography is really bad. Okay. So maybe this shouldn't be called city. Maybe it should be called state. Anyways, let's make a new one called state. And the state is going to be Mississippi. Okay. All right. So next we're going to learn about another little function. And the function is, where are we? And this is going to be, so we just learned about count and we learned how to use methods. So basically you have to use the name of the object and then dot and then the name of the method over here. So count is the name of the method and then a pair of parentheses and anything we need to run that method inside of the parentheses over here. In this case, we need a letter or another character that we're trying to count. Okay, another very common operation that we do with strings is we try to get the length of the string. So this is the length function. So it's just shortened down to len, len. So what we're going to do is we're going to run this with our string objects. So it's going to be len, and then parentheses, and then the name of the string or the name of the variable inside of the parentheses. User NS asks, could we have a link to that presentation or whatever this is? Yeah. So this presentation is on my GitHub, and let me grab the link to that so I can share it with you. So this is programming, and it's this one right here. So I will share it with the user who asked for that. Okay, let's go over to our JS Linux. So we've got our state. It's Mississippi. All right, and we're going to run the length function with this. So it's going to be len, and then the name of the variable inside of here. So length of state, which is the number of characters inside there. We're going to send this off, and it's going to say 11. So does it have 11 letters? So it does have 11 letters. Okay, so this is working. So everybody, if you manage to successfully run the length function on your variable, which is either a city or state or something else, and you got the right amount of letters, please type, I can count the letters in chat. Okay, all right, so it seems like this is not a problem. So let's learn about another fun little. So in both functions and methods, inclusion of parentheses are required even if there are no arguments required for the function or method to execute. So when we're using functions or methods, we always have to include the parentheses. User LC says, they're late again. No problem. No problem. You can come late, and if you want to catch up on whatever you missed, you can always go to the YouTube to the YouTube stream, and I'll give you the YouTube stream link. And you can start from there, or you can just continue from wherever we are. Either way is fine. So length function, we were just talking about this. So in this case, we're doing the length of the word hot dog. So we just need to put the string inside of here. So hot dog, and it reports 6 letters, okay? The next thing is the index method. So the index method is used to locate the first instance of the argument within the object. The output is the number of characters into the string where the argument appears, counting from 0. So in this case, we're trying to look for the first place the letter A appears inside of this string right here, which is pizza. So why does it say 4? So if we count, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but it says here that the first instance where the A appears in pizza is 4. Okay, so user WW has the correct answer. It's because we start counting from 0. So when we're talking about indexes inside of an object, so indexes for lists means the objects in the list, but for strings, it means the letters or the number of the characters inside of the string. So we start counting from 0, so it's 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's why the number 4 appears over here. Very good. Okay. So here the output of the method is 4 because we started counting from 0. Okay. Another method we have is the count method. The count method returns the number of times the argument appears in the object. Note that we don't count from 0 in this case. So I think didn't we go over this already? Yeah. So we already talked about the count method, and we counted the number of S's and I's in Mississippi. So let's try this out over at JS Linux really quick. So what we have Mississippi over here. What we want to do is we want to find out how many letters in this the first P appears inside of Mississippi. So we would do state, the name of the object over here, and then it's going to be dot, and it's going to be index. And because this is a method, we have to put our parentheses, and inside the parentheses, we're going to put the letter that we're looking for. And the letter we're looking for is letter P. So this method right here is going to report the first time how many letters in the P appears in Mississippi. And this reports 8. And remember that this is the 9th letter because we start counting from 0. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so this is correct. All right, so everybody, I want you to try this out. And if you manage to successfully run this method, please type index me in chat. Okay, so let's see. I think there are a couple more methods we're going over. Okay, no. We're going to be talking about index slicing. So this is where we can get specific letters out of the string. So just as we can index lists to retrieve the item contained at a specific position, we can index strings with each character in the string counting as a separate item. Okay, so when we do indexing for lists, we get the different items inside the list. But when we do indexing for strings, we get the individual letters inside of the string. So we've got dog. We're going to print the first index, which is the 0 index of dog over here, and it's the letter D because we start counting from 0. So this is index 0, this is index 1, and this is index 2 for dog, this string. Remember, when indexing in Python, counting starts from 0 instead of 1. So what's more interesting is the ability to select specific slices of the string. here we've isolated the third and fourth letters from the string Python. Okay, so let's do a little bit of experimentation. Okay, so we're going to do a pet, and the pet could be a dog or a cat, or it could be a Python, anything you like. So just for the sake of everybody being on the same page, let's make a pet which is equal to Python. Okay, so inside of here, pet equals, and then inside of the double quotes or single quotes, it's going to be Python. All right. So after we've created that, let's take a look at what we're doing. So we're trying to print pet, but we're only printing out the starting at the index number 2, and then this is a colon, and then index number 4. Okay, so we've isolated the third and fourth letters from the string Python, and so remember this is index 0, this is 1, and this is 2, which is the T, and then index number 4. Index number 4 is not included in this case, so it's only going to get you index number 2 and index number 3. It stops before this number right here, so it's only the T and the H. Let's try this out. So we're going to print pet, and then square brackets, and then it's going to be 2:4. Okay, so if we give this command over here, it's going to give you 2 letters. So it's going to start at index 2, 0, 1, 2, which is the T, and it's going to stop before index 4. So index 4 is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So the O is not going to count, but it's going to return the H. So let's try this. So we get the T and we get the H. So you can try this again, but you can change the numbers. So how many letters are in Python? So it's 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So here we can do 6. So 6 is going to go after the letter N. So what it's going to do is it's going to return THON, but it's not going to include these two. Okay. All right. So if you managed to do this, please type in the chat, slice me. Because this is called index slicing. All right, so over here. So inside the brackets, we indicate the character to start from. It's counting over 0, and then a colon, and then the character that marks the stopping point, which is not returned. So remember, index 4, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, this is the stopping point, which is not returned. So if a second colon is included in the index slicing, the number to the right of it indicates the number of characters to count by when slicing. So we've got our bug. It's called a centipede, and then we're going to get this this particular string, but we're going to start from the 0, and then we're going to stop at index 9. And then we're going to count by every 2 letters. Okay, so we've got 0, which is the C, and we've got 9, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 9 is actually after the final letter. And so we're including the entire string here. So from 0 to 9, and we're counting every 2 characters, every 2 letters. So it's going to be C-N-I-E-E. So C, and then I, and then, C, and then N, and then I, and then E, and then E. So we're just getting these right here. So let's try this out really quick. So over at JS Linux, So I'm going to exit really quick so I can get back up to the top of the screen. Okay, and then I'm going to do bug equals centipede. All right, so bug equals centipede. User H asks, when I did pet, Oh, okay, okay. Yeah, I think, I mean, I think that makes sense to user H. Okay, so we've got bug equals centipede. Let's try this out. So we're going to print bug, and then inside of the square brackets, we're going to indicate 0, which means this letter right here. And then we're going to indicate colon and then 9, which means that we're going to do the entire string, because 9 goes outside of how many letters there are in here. And then we're going to count by 2. So just like this, it's going to be bug, and then in the square brackets, 0, colon, 9, colon, 2. So we're going to count every second letter like this. Okay, so when we print this out, it's going to return the C, N, I, E, E. So C, and then skip, N, and then I, and then E, and then E. But we can also do every third letter like this. And that's going to do C, and then T, and then E. So it's going to be C, and then skip 2, it goes to T, and then skip 2, it goes to E. All right. So I think there's a couple more things about string slicing we're going to learn. Okay, the last part of string index slicing we're going to cover is using negative index numbers. So if a negative index number is used, the index starts counting from the end of the string instead of the beginning. So we've got our fruit, which is equal to grapes, and we're going to print fruit at the -1 index. So the -1 index means we're counting from the back instead of the front. So -1 in this case is going to be the S at the end. Okay, so just really quick, we're going to print, and this is going to be bug at the -1 index, and that's going to be the last letter inside of centipede over here. So in this case, it's going to be the letter E. But if we do bug at 0, it's going to be the first letter, which is the letter C. Okay, so when indexing, if we include the colon without a number to its left, the first colon will have a default value of 0, which is the start of the string, and the second colon will have the default value of the number of characters plus 1, which means the end of the string. So what we're doing here is that the whole string is in range because we didn't include a number over to the left of this first colon, and there's no numbers over in the middle. So this counts the beginning of the string to the end of the string. And then we're stepping through the characters in reverse order, one by one. So -1 means that we're moving backwards through the string. And in this case, we're going to spell out the word grapes backwards. So it's going to be separg instead of grapes. Okay, so really quickly, there are these methods right here, which are called the upper and lower methods. And they're going to output all of the characters in uppercase or lowercase, respectively. So we've got .upper and .lower. These are two methods we can do to make sure that everything is in uppercase or lowercase. Inside of our JS Linux, we've got our centipede, our bug. So it's going to be bug.upper. So if we do bug.upper, it's all going to be in uppercase. So we're going to print this. So print bug.upper, and that's going to be centipede, really big. And if we do bug.lower, it's going to be centipede, very, very low, okay? So really big or very small. This is a method that's going to change up the cases of the letters in here, okay? All right, so there's also these ones over here, starts with and ends with. They're methods to test whether or not strings contain the specified argument. So we're going to, so this one is checking if a string starts with something. So in this case, it's the HackerFrogs. And when we check this, it comes back true. And this one here is the ends with method. It's going to check if the word frog is at the end of the string. And this comes back false because frog is not at the end of this. It's frog with an S. Okay. So everybody, so before we finish out today's lesson, I'd like to do a couple of PicoCTF challenges because I know you all like doing PicoCTF challenges, and we've got a couple to do today. And the first one is, let me grab my notes. So we've got HackerFrogs after school. These are the session notes. And I'm going to give everybody the session notes because they've got all the stuff we were looking at today. Today is the 14th. So if you ever get lost about all of the different links that we looked at today, they're in these notes over here on the GitHub. And so we've got the last session's exercises. Okay, we did fixme1.py and we did glitchcat. And this session's exercises, we're going to do the pwcrack 1 and 2 exercises, okay? So what I want you to do is actually, you know what, I'll just give you the link. So the link for pwcrack 1, which is the first exercise we're doing today, is just over here. Please log into your PicoCTF shell, your web shell over here. So over on the PicoCTF site, you can access the web shell by clicking on this button right here. So one more time, there's going to be, after you log into PicoCTF, there's the web shell button right here. Click on that. And then you want to click on this button right here. So this button right here is a square with an arrow that points out. Click on that, and then the web shell is going to be put in its own browser tab. You're going to put in your username, and you're going to put in your password. So let me grab my password really quick. And then I'm going to paste in my password, hit enter. Okay, and now we're ready to go. Okay, so everybody, if you manage to log into your PicoCTF web shell, please type in the chat, I am web shell. Okay, so the challenge is called PWCrack 1. It is over here. So let me give everybody that link one more time. Okay, so the challenge description here says, can you crack the password to get the flag? Download the password checker here, and you'll need the encrypted flag in the same directory too. Okay, so everybody, for this challenge, we need to download 2 files and put them in the same directory, okay? So the first thing you want to do inside of the web shell is you want to create a directory for these files. So we're going to create a directory with the mkdir command. So it's going to be pwcrack1. So just give this command here, and then enter the directory with cd pwcrack1. And then we can download our files. Okay, so it's going to be wget and then space. And then we need to go over to the challenge page. This link right here, we need to download this. So it's going to be right click, select copy link address, and then go back to the web shell and paste in the link. So we can right click and select paste, and that's going to download the file. We need to download a second file as well. So we're going to do wget one more time, and then space, go back to the challenge description, and then this word right here, flag, this is also a link, so we can right click on this, select copy link address, then back at the web shell, paste it in. Okay, so we're going to clear this. When we do the ls command, we should see two files, level1.flag.text.enc and then level1.py. So everybody, if you have these two files, please type in the chat, I have two files. Okay, we're getting some people who say that they have the files. So there's going to be this file over here and this file over here. If you don't have the files, you can go ahead and copy the links over here and then use wget to download the file. So it's just going to be wget space and then paste in the link. Okay, so everybody, if you have the two files, you can run the level1.py Python file by just using this command right here, Python and then space level1.py. Okay, so when we run this command, Python space level1.py, it's going to ask, please enter correct password for flag. But we don't know what the correct password is. So we're just going to type test, and then that it says that password is incorrect, and then it exits. Okay. So what we need to do for this challenge is we need to figure out what the correct password is. So to do so, what we need to do is we need to inspect the code inside of this file right here, level1.py. Okay. And the way we do that is using the cat command. So it's going to be cat level1.py. So we see a bunch of code for this file. So we don't need to pay attention to this code at the top. We just need to pay attention to the code inside of this function right here, which is called level1 pw check. So does anybody know what the password might be for this particular function? So we see user underscore pw equals input, and if the input is equal to this right here, then it's going to say, welcome back, your flag user. And if not, it's going to say that password is incorrect. Okay, so this is what we're looking for right here. So it's doing a comparison with your input versus this. So what we need to do is we need to run the program one more time. So it's going to be, so user ww and user amo, you are correct. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to run that level1.py, and it's going to ask for the correct password for the flag. We saw inside of the code, it's 691D. So press enter, and then we get our flag. Okay, so this is it, picoctf, this thing right here. So just to make sure, after you highlight, you can right-click and select copy, and then go back to the challenge over here, and you can paste in the flag and then click on submit. Okay, so user H says it says no such file or directory. So to anybody who's having any problems with the challenges we're doing today, or if you have any questions about any of the stuff that we learned today, you can stay after the session is over, and I'll try to answer your questions as best I can and help you out. But everybody, we've run out of time for today. But before we go, we're going to do a quick summary about what we learned today. So inside of our So we learned about string formatting, which is a way for us to use variable values in strings. We didn't learn about this C string format. And we also learned about basic string operations. So strings in Python have a number of different functions and methods that can be useful for obtaining specific details about the strings. We also learned about outputting slices of strings through string indexing. Okay, so we're going to be learning about another important concept inside of programming in the next workshop, in the next session, rather. And everybody, I'd like to say that the next session is actually going to be tomorrow. So usually we run our sessions on Fridays, on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. But for the next session specifically, we're going to be doing it tomorrow. So tomorrow, which is Thursday, we're going to be running our session at the same time, but we're not going to be having a session on Friday. Okay. So everybody, before you go, if you take a look at the session notes, I also had this PW Crack 2 challenge scheduled. So if you want to give this one a try, this one is the PW Crack 2 challenge. Okay, we have one user saying that they don't think they'll be able to attend tomorrow. That's fine. You can catch up with the session. You can watch the recording. Right. So on the YouTube page, which is, let me grab the link for the live VODs. So the first link over here is the link to the PW Crack 2 challenge. Go ahead and try that one out yourself. And the second link that I'm sending you right now is for the YouTube channel that goes to the live stream video on demand. Okay. All right. So that's it for data. We also have a end of exercise code right here over at the GitHub. And if you want to give this one a try, this is try running this inside of your virtual machine, either from the web shell or from the JS Linux. Where was I? Go ahead. You can go ahead and go to the GitHub, which is right here, and try out this end of session exercise code as well. Okay. But for anybody who doesn't need help with any of the exercises that we did today, feel free to go. We're going to be back tomorrow, so that's going to be Thursday. Tomorrow, that's August 15th, and we're going to be back at the same time. Okay. But to anybody who doesn't need help, feel free to get going. The user WW says, will future meetings change, or is this the one-time? This is just a one-time thing. Just for this week, we're doing a session on Thursday instead of Friday.